Hi, Truth Tom here. Welcome back to my channel. Please like, subscribe, share the video, and if you wouldn't mind, leave a comment down below. Also, there are some excellent discount links in the description of this video and in my main channel description. And also in the comments, my first comment is always a Tesla referral code. And if you want to purchase a Tesla, there has never been a better time. You will get 3 months of full self-driving free, and I believe they give you 30 days automatically. So that's 4 months. Now let's get into the video. So this whole trip and how we arrived in Manhattan or ended up here started with my daughter and I. My daughter is a teenager and I am much, much older. And there's significance in that statement as we get later into the video. I chose to drive from South Carolina to New Jersey, which is where my in-laws live. And my other family members flew, but my daughter and I drove. And we drove on full self-driving. Now, we had no issues at all on the way traveling from South Carolina up here to New York. We left last Thursday, and today, as I record this, it's Sunday. So one of the most beautiful things about traveling in full self-driving is the charging stops. Now, I am, like I said, a little older, and that's significant here. I love to pull over about at a maximum of every 3 hours. So we did that. The first leg of our trip took us to North Carolina from South Carolina, and we stopped and fully charged. We didn't fully charge. We charged to about 70%, I believe. But that first stop after 3 hours was very welcome. I mean, it's really, really very welcome. Even though the entire time you're in the car, it's not like you're stressed out. I am basically reclined in my seat when I'm driving in full self-driving, and I have so much confidence now in the technology that it doesn't even faze me. Of course I'm watching the road, because if I don't, the car will notify me and let me know that I'm not paying attention. But for the most part, I'm doing other things. My daughter, of course, listens to crazy music, which that's definitely not always a part of the fun of the trip, but you have to take the good with the bad, and you have to be, flexible, I guess. But we had lots of great chats along the way, and it's just so relaxing being in full self-driving. Now, the original plan was we would drive it's about a 12, 13-hour trip. The original plan was we would drive about 10 hours or maybe even 9 hours and then stop in a really nice hotel with a swimming pool and go have a nice meal, hang out together, enjoy each other's company, which we really do, obviously. And then we would head to, New Jersey the next morning, the balance of the trip. But that didn't happen. And I'll tell you why it didn't happen. Because when we got to Maryland, we had about 2.5, 3 hours left, and I wanted to make sure my daughter was comfortable, just, continuing to go forward on the trip. But I kind of wanted to get to Pop-Pop's house. So her grandfather is Pop-Pop, and we were staying with him, obviously, for the weekend. And what we decided to do, I said to my daughter, I said, "Hey, how you feeling? You tired? What are you thinking? Should we get a nice hotel?" I said, We can get a beautiful hotel. We could just stay overnight and have a nice meal. We can get a nice place with a swimming pool. You can chill out. You can talk to your buddies online or whatever it is she does. Because, at that age, these kids need their own privacy also. She's going to have conversations with her friends that she's not going to have with her, with her dad being around. So you have to make sure that, you never make your kid feel like they have no privacy. So anyway, she said, no, I think I'm good. Let's go to Pop-Ups. And then once she said that, that meant that she wanted to see Pop-Up more than be in a strange hotel. So we headed north. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is even as a younger man, I was never a fan of driving at night. Like I remember years ago when I was really, really young, I would drive at night because there would be less traffic and there was just a lot less commuter traffic, and you would make up a lot of time by driving at night, but I never really enjoyed it. So on this trip, I said, you know what? I'm not going to drive at night. I'm just going to pull over and get up really, really early, like, 6 a.m., 5 a.m. or whatever, and be on the road at sunlight. But I was feeling good. And here's the thing, guys, especially anybody who's watching this video who's older. You 100% have that option when you're utilizing full self-driving. I remember actually I left, I forget the name of the charging location, but it was in Maryland. And I remember leaving there and it had just, in fact, I have a beautiful photograph, which I'm going to put up here, of the sunset there in Maryland. And anyway, I said, you know what? Let's just get out of here. And I put it in full self-driving. And it was just, by the time we were finished with the charging, it was dark at that point. And I remember I'm always in standard mode when I'm on a trip like that, for the most part, because I'm not in any rush anywhere. And I like the confidence in knowing that I'm not speeding and I'm not doing anything crazy. So that allows me more time to relax. But anyway, I put it in standard. We leave the charging station. We got to go a couple of miles or a mile and a half or whatever to get to Interstate 95 again. And I remember thinking, it's really dark, even though there's street lighting and stuff. And I thought, the car feels like it's going really fast. And then I looked down, and it's not. I was doing like 50 in a 45. But at night, and being older, my reaction times are not what they used to be. And yeah, I'm a little sketchy about driving at night, but I realize the car is seeing things around it like I was when I was 20 years old or 25 years old. And I thought, this is amazing. Like, I literally don't have to worry about anything when I'm in full self-driving. So before you know it, 2.5 hours or 3 hours later, we're at Pop-Pop's house in New Jersey. And by now it's I don't know, it's 11 p.m. or whatever it was, maybe 11:30. And I thought to myself, I just drove 13 hours and I wasn't tired. Like, I literally wasn't tired. In fact, I remember walking upstairs at Pop-Pop's house thinking, God, I hope I go to sleep. Because, when you're in somebody else's house, you don't want to be wandering around the house, because I like to, before I go to bed on any night, I like to just kind of chill out before I go to bed, watch a little TV, and then, I kind of unwind. So I was like, man, I'm walking straight in the door after a 13-hour trip or whatever it was, and I'm going to go straight upstairs and go to sleep. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Well, it turns out that happened also, because I guess I was tired, but I didn't feel that when I was in the car. And that's a really, really beautiful place to be. And then this is what full self-driving does for you. And by the way, before I go any further, as you're watching this video, my daughter and I are having a full-blown conversation, and the music in the car, believe me when I tell you, is blasting. She's a kid. I get it. I was the same way. The songs were different. I was listening to Queen songs, and she's listening to whoever. The music's blasting. And all I am doing at this point is I am just so thankful to God that I am there with my daughter and we're making memories. But that's what's going on in the video. And you can see that my hands are waving and we're pointing, and she's pointing. She's very artistic. She was pointing at all the graffiti walls, And God help me, I'm sure I'll come home one night and my fence will be all different colors with graffiti. But anyway, we're still making great memories on this trip. And it was obviously a beautiful day in New York. We're still in New Jersey, by the way. And the other thing I did was, your ego, I know a lot of people talk about full self-driving and they talk about the fact that, well, it doesn't go the way I want to go, or this is the long way, or there's too much traffic over here, or there's this, or there's that, the other. And I get that. I understand sometimes if you're in a rush, or if there's somewhere you want to go, or if you want to make a couple of stops, that can be annoying. But for me, the other thing, if you notice, see that family crossing the street? Every time I see a family, and he's got a little girl with him, every time I see a family now crossing the street or an animal, I think, you have never been safer in your life than you are around my car. Perfectly, perfectly safe. It sees absolutely everything. So anyway, getting back to what I was talking about, we are just really enjoying this. And I promised myself the first moment I got in the car, all I did was I called Grok up. I said, hey, Grok, take me to Freedom Tower in New York City, Ground Zero, World Trade Center, whatever it was. And I think it's One World Trade Center is the actual address. And I obviously have really fond memories of the World Trade Center. And of course, I have sad memories of the tragedy on that day. I lost a lot of friends who were firemen and cops, and it was a very sad time. And I guess, to go there with my daughter was really, it was just, anyway, I don't want to get emotional about it, but it was beautiful to know that, we were lucky enough to survive that. And, our country always survives these things, right? But anyway, I punched in, I said, take me to Ground Zero, take me to Freedom Tower. And I promised myself I would not intervene. No matter what the car did, I would not intervene. Now, it took me, I am still in this video where we're at right now in the video at 12 minutes and 37 seconds or whatever. We're still in New Jersey. It took me off of the direct straight route to the Holland Tunnel, and it took me on all these little side roads. Now, did it take longer? Yeah, maybe. But how could you know, right? The only thing it did do, however, was it took me to places I had never seen before. And that, to me, was beautiful. And this is the beauty of Grok. I could have easily, at any given point throughout this entire trip, I could have gone into Grok and said, tell me about something close by that's really important, or something that's of historical significance, or something that happened recently that I need to know about, or something that happened here in the 1800s, or maybe there was a store. My daughter's really into thrifting, and that's what we did after we left Manhattan, by the way. We went thrifting. But I could have, at any moment, I could have asked Grok, and Grok it will not just give you the information and the historical significance of a street, of an address, of a store, of a person, of whatever it is, but it would have taken me there if I so choose. So that's what's going on. And again, we're in New Jersey, and if you notice, there's a gas station there on my right-hand side, and I'm thinking, what will the world look like in 20 years? Will we even have gas stations? I know we will, but in what form will those gas stations be in? But one of the most fabulous points about this drive is just the absolute excitement in my daughter's face. And she's listening to her favorite songs, and she's blasting the songs, and she's looking around, and she's snapping pictures left and right. She does this thing where she will have her iPhone out the window. She'll roll down the window of the car and she has her iPhone out there. And of course, typical daddy, I am terrified that she's going to lose the phone or she's going to drop it on the ground. But then, I think about that and I'm like, you know what? Who gives a crap if she drops the phone? That's going to be another memory, another problem we'll have to solve. And somehow, some way, we will figure it out and we'll figure it out together. So as you can see now, I have sped up this video to, I think it's 1.4 or 1.5 times faster than it should be. This video was well over an hour long, and I sped it up a bit just to help you guys out. And I certainly don't want to talk for over an hour. I don't even want to talk for 20 minutes. As you know, most of my videos are not that long. But I wanted to speed it up, but I also wanted you to get the entire trip and understand what's happening. Now, let's get back to FSD for a second. I have not once intervened, and I tried to keep the camera going here so you could see that. I know the camera is not seeing the bottom of the steering wheel, but I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer when it comes to recording these videos or setting up cameras. I probably should be recording with multiple cameras. In fact, my intent was to record with my iPhone. If you can see, my iPhone is up on the left. And we're about 10 minutes into the trip, and I realized that I don't have it turned on. So I forgot to hit video or hit record. So I'm like, who the hell needs that? This is nothing to do with anything except this is a trip. This is a daddy-daughter trip. I'm recording it. If anything wacky happens, it'll come out on the video and it will be left in there. That's what I do. That's what I do in all my videos. But I'm in full self-driving the entire time. And we sat in this particular traffic jam for, a very long time. But I'll tell you what, it is so relaxing when you're sitting in a traffic jam in full self-driving. It is a game changer. I mean, a complete game changer. Now, anytime I'm sitting in traffic in full self-driving, I'm working. Except, of course, today. Because today, in this video, it's all about my daughter. But if you had any idea the amount of work I get done when I'm in my car on full self-driving in traffic, it's just mind-boggling. I've got some side businesses. I have real estate side business. I do a lot of marketing. I am in the restaurant business, as you know, so I'm constantly communicating with people in all those areas. And I'm constantly creating new content, creating new posts, and creating images on Grok. And I do use ChatGPT as well, and I do use Claude. And I'm currently in the process of writing a book. So sometimes as I'm in full self-driving, I will just talk to Claude or Chat, and I will add a couple of chapters to the book. And I honestly, I'm not sure I'm that great at prompting. That's why I designed a course actually for myself, and I share it with you also in the description. And it's a free course. I was going to charge for it, but who cares? Who gives a crap? It's not like, sometimes it's nice to just give stuff away and see the joy people get from using it. But the reason I bring that up is the book that I'm doing is I'm utilizing both ChatGPT and Claude and Grok, all three really, mostly imaging from the Grok side. But I'm doing this by using AI. And what's stupid about it is my prompts take so long that I might as well just write the book myself, because I really do tend to be probably overly detailed when I'm doing the prompts in the video or in the chapters of the books. So, but anyway, the point to that whole story is I just love all this work I can get done when I'm in my car in full self-driving. And now you can see right in front of us there is the Holland Tunnel. And this is just, if you could hear the excitement in the car right now with my daughter, and then I'm explaining to her what's going on, and I'm showing her on the screen of the car that, we're going to go in this tunnel, and then we're going to go down, and we're going to go underwater in the tunnel. And then when we come out the other side, we will be on Canal Street. And this is just so exciting for her. And frankly, it's exciting for me too. I want to talk about New York City for a minute. I absolutely love New York City, and I hate politics. I have been in and or around New York City basically since I came to this country in 1980. It's my favorite city in the world by far, because the history of New York is just absolutely unbelievable. It really is. And this is why it's very important for people to travel. Now, obviously travel to other countries, but I firmly believe that people need to travel around the United States. I run into people constantly in South Carolina and in other places, and I ask them about New York City, and they're like, New York City is terrible. I would never go there. People are crazy up there, and there's all these drugs and violence and gangs and terrorists and blah, 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 blah. And nobody likes each other, and people are shooting cops, and cops are shooting people. And I say to them, have you ever been there? And they're like, no, I would never go there. And what I'm saying to you right now in this video, if you're hearing stories like that, or if you're seeing videos of violence in New York City or whatever, it's very important, you must look at the source. And both sides of our political spectrum are doing this, and this is not about politics. The point is, go see things for yourself. I even said to my daughter, with exceptions, I say to my daughter, I want you to travel the world. And I want you to go to places that people say are not cool. Because it's been my experience, and I haven't traveled extensively, I'm going to be honest. It's been my experience that many places I see that people tell me are bad, and frankly, that comes to people also. You'll often hear people say, oh, that guy is a jerk, that guy is an asshole. It's usually not true, because if nobody has ever met somebody and they tell you that that person is not a nice person, they're basically regurgitating stories they heard from others, and they don't actually know the person. I'm telling you right now, if you get a chance, please go visit New York City. It is one of the most exciting cities on the planet. And yeah, there are a mix of people from all walks of life, from all parts of the globe, all corners of the world, all races, creeds, genders, you name it. It's all in New York City. But when you see this city on a day like today, it's alive and it's vibrant, and it truly is beautiful. It really is beautiful. And I mean, I can't emphasize enough how much you really need to go there, and you need to experience this for yourself. Now, I changed the camera angle a little bit because I wanted us to get a different view, or I guess a bigger view from the windshield when we exit the tunnel. So I'm just not sure how that's going to translate in this video. But if you've watched any of my videos, you know that if I'm telling you we're in full self-driving and everything is going very smoothly, believe me, it is going very smoothly. It's a wild experience, by the way, going through the Holland Tunnel, because as you can see here, and I have sped up this video, the traffic was very slow, and you're hearing the sounds and the sights, and you're essentially underwater. It's kind of wild. I know there are a lot of people out there also who have fears of bridges and tunnels and all that stuff. Do yourself a favor. Get out there. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And once you achieve things like this, you gain confidence. And before you know it, you'll be on a flight to Australia. And you'll have no fear of being stuck in a plane for long periods of time. You'll have no fear of bridges. You'll have no fear of tunnels. And I have to credit the Tesla community for a lot of this stuff. I watch the people in the Tesla community, and I highly suggest you go on X and you find the people that I chat with on a daily basis and look at their lives and look at what they do on a daily basis. These people are exciting. They're fearless. They're not afraid to take chances, and they're certainly not afraid to take chances on Tesla, as we all do. We're all taking chances on Tesla. But if you're a senior citizen especially and you're watching this video, man, not all of you have a 16-year-old like I do in your 60s. I started a little bit late, but many of you probably have grandkids who are 16 right now. Get yourself a Tesla, get yourself full self-driving, and take your kids for a ride. Because you know what? When they start screaming or playing the music or annoying you, if you're in full self-driving, it's not going to faze you. If you're not in full self-driving, it's actually kind of dangerous because they're distracting you from paying attention to the road. And even though we still have to pay attention in the road on the Tesla full self-driving, and it is supervised, you must be ready to take over at all time, it's still extremely relaxing. And it's very, very important that you do that while you're alive. Life is extremely short. And for anybody who's getting a little older, they know exactly what I'm talking about. So get out there and do this. Now, again, we are at a situation in this drive where we are just completely and utterly relaxed. The other thing I noticed as soon as you go into the tunnel is the smell. And I don't want to be that guy that says, oh, we got to get rid of all these gas cars. I know that's not going to happen for a long time. But man, when you go in a tunnel like this and you just get the smell of the fumes and the smell of the gasoline mixed with the air, it truly is something else. And by the way, after you do a trip like this, your throat is a little scratchy. And honestly, that's a direct result of the fumes. And of course, like I said, the windows are up and down in the car. We don't have the windows up. We don't have our bio air set up in the car at this point. But it's definitely there. You can smell the difference. And by the way, the difference in the smell is certainly better than it was 20 years ago. Boy, I remember going through these tunnels 20 years ago or 25 or even 30 years ago. And I can't imagine the stuff I've breathed in. I mean, I can't imagine it. Now, I don't know where cancer comes from, but if you're going in and out of this tunnel every day, maybe some people for all their life, because they're commuting to work, they're cops, they're firemen, they're construction workers, whatever they do in the city, and you're going in and out of this disgusting air every day for 20, 30, 40 years, I can understand why people get really sick in old age. And they get really sick from disease, like cancer, like maybe dementia is tied to this, I know a lot of friends who have COPD, and they didn't all necessarily work in the tunnels of New York City. But a lot of people get that disease, and that's because of air. Well, anyway, here we are now. We are now exiting the Holland Tunnel, and my daughter is so excited. We're giving you a thumbs up there, and she is so excited, and she's shouting at this moment. She's shouting, "This is Canal Street, New York City." And of course, she's videotaping, and I know that she's sending these videotapes to her friends in South Carolina and our other cousins in Ireland. And, she's, at this point, she's the coolest kid in the world, right? Like, she's the one in New York City. And you know that her friends in South Carolina are like, wow, Teresa's so cool. She's driving around New York City. And that makes a kid feel good, right? Like, we all want to feel good as kids. So here we are now. And this is the other beauty of full self-driving. I don't have a clue where we're going. All I know is I have programmed this car to take me to the Freedom Tower. And we do something really cool here at the end of this video, and I don't want you to miss it. It's taking us around now. We're going to go down, and at the very end of the video, I want to show you what I did that I think, personally, is really graphically, excuse my language, graphically very cool. But anyway, here we are. We're sitting in traffic. Now, this is downtown. This is like Tribeca. This is downtown Manhattan. We're in the Village. We're all over all those places you've seen in the movies or you've heard about or whatever. And it's just absolutely magnificent. There are people everywhere. There are people walking. And we're coming down right now to, basically, that's the Hudson River right in front of us there. And, who remembers Sully, the famous Captain Sully Sullenberger, landing the plane right out there, man. He landed right in the Hudson River. And this is all of this area. By the way, the other thing is, one of the things you see in New York now, they've always had a lot of parks in New York City, obviously Central Park being one of them. But there are so many more open spaces and parks and seating and places for people to hang out and food trucks and street vendors and cafes on the sidewalks. And much of that changed after COVID, right? Like, there was a big movement to get outside after COVID. And New York City is just vibrant when the weather is nice. And of course, there are long winters in New York City. In some ways, by living in South Carolina, we're kind of spoiled. We have this good weather that comes all the time. And then in New York City, it's different. Summer and spring and summer come there, and they're just beside themselves because they've been cooped in for so long. So maybe they enjoy spring and summer a lot more than we do in the South, because it's just, they know it's here for a short period of time, and then before you know it, it's gone. So there is that beauty, and look at how green it is. I mean, can you imagine you're in the middle of New York City? I mean, this is just absolutely spectacular. And once again, I'm going to say this again, the car is performing absolutely spectacularly. I have not intervened once. I'm letting the car do its thing. And the other thing I noticed in New York City, and I don't know why this is, I remember years ago, everybody honked their horn all the time. It's not nearly as bad anymore. Now, of course, we're on this trip on a Sunday. There's not a lot of commuter traffic. But even so, it's still very peaceful, even for a Sunday. So I thought that was really cool. But it's so beautiful down here. And you can't see the people on the sidewalks. But I now, because I have FSD, I can see the people on the sidewalks. And believe me when I tell you, there are people here from all over the planet. And they're all here for the same reason. They freaking love this city. And I love this city. And I really, really hope that you will go there. Now, if you see me looking up in the mirror there, I'm actually looking through the ceiling of the car, through the roof of the car, because we are now down in the thick of everything. This is downtown New York City, and it is absolutely magnificent. Just all the tall buildings. And of course, the Freedom Tower is our goal. And the joy of sitting in traffic. Did you ever thought anybody would say that? The joy of sitting in traffic. But it truly is. It is pure joy sitting in traffic, just taking it all in and having the time to actually watch the people crossing the street and watch their faces. I mean, New York City, there's no place in the world better than people watching. And, you know, people enjoy people watching, right? I'm one of those people. I love people watching. Before I had full self-driving, there's not much time to watch people because you're worried about the guy next to you. You're worried about hitting the bumper of the guy in front of you. You're worried you get distracted. And just being able to sit back, you know, in a Tesla recliner and enjoy the world, it's kind of like being in your own movie. It really is. You're sitting there in your director's chair that reclines, and you're just having the greatest time. You're having the greatest time. And now I'm deciding to do something here in a couple of minutes that you're going to see. So I was removing one of my other iPhone mounts because I've got a plan here. And now we're going to go down. Now what it did was that before I made that right turn there, the Freedom Tower was actually on our left. We had passed it on our left. And of course, when I programmed the address into the phone, into Grok, into the car, I said, take me to, you know, Freedom Tower, and then I hit curbside. So the car is actually now going to go around, and it's going to bring us right back around again to the opposite side of the street, which is where Freedom Tower is located. And then you're going to see what happens. It's going to pull us up right outside the building, and it is absolutely magnificent. So I didn't screw up the camera there. This I did totally on purpose. And you're going to see why in just a second. I wanted you to see the magnificence of the full glass roof in the Tesla Model Y. This is absolutely incredible. You're going to see in just a second. There, my friends, is the Freedom Tower, right through the roof of our Model Y. How spectacular is that? Look at the clouds. I mean, it's like a big, giant mirror. What a beautiful sight. I love New York. I hope you'll go there. I hope you'll experience it like I did. And by the way, New York City is a beautiful city. Don't not go. And if you're watching those channels that are telling you it's a bad place and everybody's crazy there and there's crazy people rambling, running around the streets, it's not true. There's crazy people running around every street. Sometimes I'm the crazy person running around my street. But overall, New York City is one of my favorite places on planet Earth. And to experience it in Tesla full self-driving is magnificent. Also, we didn't park in New York City. We didn't stop in New York City. We didn't go anywhere in New York City. Your Tesla with full self-driving is a natural tour guide. You don't have to stay in a hotel there. You don't have to get out of your car. You can drive around. You can see the sights. And it's absolutely total fun. Anyway, after this, my daughter and I went thrifting, and I bought something that's really cool, and I'm going to have that in another video. I bought it for $49 at a thrift store, and I'm going to talk about that because also that has a lot to do with my love for the United States of America. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, share the video, and thanks for always supporting my work. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Have a fantastic day. And happy Father's Day, because this was my greatest Father's Day ever.